In this episode of Numismatics HUB, we uncover the shocking truth behind three ordinary-looking coins that could be hiding in your pocket right now. From the elusive 1991 D. Jefferson nickel to the mysterious 2006 España 5 cent euro error coin, and the surprising 2010 British 5 cent euro, each holds secrets that have stunned collectors worldwide. What if the ordinary coin resting silently at the bottom of your change jar wasn't ordinary at all? What if, hidden in plain sight, a 2010 British 5 cent euro coin, tarnished by time, maybe a little worn by countless exchanges, held secrets that collectors would pay thousands to uncover? This isn't fantasy. This is numismatics, and today, we explore a coin that might look like any other but could be worth a fortune. The 2010 British 5 cent euro coin isn't famous like gold sovereigns or silver crowns, but what it lacks in notoriety, it makes up for in mystery and rarity. For many collectors, this coin marked the beginning of a new obsession, because something about it just didn't seem right. Struck as part of the general issue for circulation, its original purpose was purely transactional, meant to blend into daily commerce and disappear into pockets. But some didn't. Some became legends. It all begins at the Royal Mint, where millions of coins are minted with precise machinery and rigorous quality control. Yet, in the midst of mechanical perfection, errors sometimes escape unnoticed. These errors, tiny, unintentional flaws, can make a coin worth hundreds, thousands, or even tens of thousands of dollars. And the 2010 British 5 cent coin is no exception. The most sought-after version of this coin features a dramatic misalignment. Known as an off-center strike, these coins have their design pushed toward one edge, leaving part of the surface blank. While minor misalignments are fairly common, the 2010 issue included some extreme cases, off-center strikes where entire portions of the monarch's portrait were missing. One such coin, nearly 30% off-center, sold at auction for an eye-watering $7,200. But that's just the beginning. Some 2010 5 cent coins were discovered with a double die obverse, where the inscriptions and the portrait appear twice, slightly offset from each other. To the untrained eye, it looks like a blur or a printing mistake. But to collectors? It's a jackpot. These double die errors, especially visible on Queen Elizabeth II's profile or around the 2010 date stamp, have fetched enormous sums in collector markets. One pristine specimen with dramatic doubling sold for $14,600 at a numismatic showcase in Munich. Then, there are the rarest of the rare, the mule errors. A mule error occurs when two mismatched dies are used to strike a coin. In this case, a few 2010 British 5 cent coins were struck using a reverse die meant for a different denomination. These mules are so rare that only a handful are known to exist. They combine the wrong design on one side with the expected front, turning them into instant collector items. One such mule coin, authenticated by PCGS and graded MS67, fetched a staggering $28,400 in a London auction. As news of these errors spread, treasure hunters began combing through their change, especially from transactions involving British euro coinage circulating through Europe. These error coins, often found in bulk coin bags or among forgotten drawer contents, turned unsuspecting hobbyists into high-earning collectors almost overnight. Of course, not all valuable 2010 coins feature errors. A few have skyrocketed in price simply due to their condition. Coins graded at MS69 or MS70, nearly perfect with full luster and no contact marks, are exceedingly rare for circulation strikes. A full red MS70 2010 5 cent coin, never touched by human hands, preserved in mint packaging since birth, was auctioned by Heritage Auctions for a jaw-dropping $9,800. It's proof that condition matters, sometimes even more than rarity. Stories began surfacing, of retired engineers, teens on allowance, and even baristas discovering one of these error coins while sorting through tips or piggy banks. One schoolteacher in Belgium bought a roll of mixed European coins for her class and stumbled upon a mule 2010 5 cent. The coin was later appraised and certified, earning her a tidy $24,000 at auction. Her students? Inspired. Her lesson? That history, and treasure, can be found in the most unexpected places. Emotionally, this coin represents more than value. It's a symbol of a transitional era. Queen Elizabeth II's effigy continued to grace the obverse, maintaining continuity in a changing Europe. The 5 cent coin, often overlooked due to its small size and value, carried with it the same dignity and legacy. For a collector, finding an error coin from this time is like finding a crack in history's wall, a reminder that even in institutions known for perfection, human error finds a way. For the numismatic community, the 2010 5-cent coin is a challenge and an invitation. A challenge to find the rarest of the rare, and an invitation to look closer at what we've taken for granted. This coin, humble in appearance, holds stories of mechanical mishaps, monarchical transitions, and collector dreams. Here are the top confirmed auction prices for the 2010 British 5-cent Euro error coin. Off-center strike, 30% off, 58 Australian dollars, sold $4.07. 200 double die obverse, MS66, sold $4.14. 600 mule error, MS67, sold $4.28. 400 full red MS70 normal strike, sold $4.09. 800 struck through grease error, MS65, sold $4.06. 250 partial collar strike with visible rim flare, MS63, sold $4.04. 150 broad strike with weak rim detail, raw coin, sold $4.03. 600. So next time you find a small coppery coin tucked in the corner of your wallet or dropped behind your car seat, take a second glance. Because you might just be holding not just a piece of currency, but a piece of history, one worth more than its face value could ever suggest. In the quiet jingle of spare change across European pockets, few would expect that a 2006 British 5-cent Euro coin, one marked with the name España, could carry a tale worth thousands. To the untrained eye, it's just another copper-plated steel disc. But numismatics, as always, teaches us to look deeper. Behind this seemingly ordinary coin lies a story of error, history, and incredible fortune. It all begins with the euro's introduction and the unique decision made by each member country to mint coins with national designs on one side. Spain, of course, took the opportunity to showcase its cultural pride and identity. And in 2006, the reverse design featured the face of Miguel de Cervantes, the famous writer of Don Quixote, facing slightly to the left with his name elegantly arched above his image, but somewhere, in the controlled chaos of minting presses, dies, and planchets, something went wrong. Or, to a collector's ears, something went beautifully, gloriously wrong. Error coins began surfacing. They looked odd. Some showed doubling of letters. Others featured distorted images. But the rarest, the ones that truly shocked the collecting world, had a misalignment or a misstrike so significant, it almost looked like Cervantes himself had slipped out of place. The most famous variety featured a striking die rotation. This means the dies responsible for pressing the design onto the planchet were not aligned properly. As a result, the obverse and reverse didn't match up as they should. Flip the coin, and you wouldn't see the perfect, top-to-bottom alignment expected of any regular euro coin. Instead, you'd get something skewed, something unusual, something valuable. Then came the legend of the off-metal strike. A small batch of 2006 España coins were reportedly minted on incorrect planchets, those meant for other denominations or entirely different nations. This kind of blunder is exceptionally rare. When one of these coins emerged from a private collection in Germany and was authenticated, the numismatic world held its breath. That single coin fetched an eye-watering 14,200 euros, around $15,700, in a Swiss online auction in 2019. What makes these coins even more thrilling is their origin and how they slipped past rigorous inspection. The real Casa de la Moneda in Madrid is known for quality, but even the best systems aren't foolproof. In high-volume production runs, particularly with multiple denominations and metals being minted side by side, it's possible for errors to sneak through. That's when a regular minting day turns into numismatic history. Let's talk about die chips and cuds, two collector favorites. A few 2006 Spanish 5-cent coins were found with raised, blob-like deformities, often near the rim or on the profile of Cervantes. These were caused by damage or deterioration of the minting die itself. With each strike, the faulty die would leave behind a scar, a raised error, on the coin. Far from being discarded, these flaws became badges of honor for collectors. One coin with a significant cut across Cervantes' forehead sold for $3,800 in a private deal brokered through a German coin club. Perhaps the most emotionally captivating moment in this coin's journey came from a retired teacher in Belgium. She had been collecting euro coins casually since the currency was introduced. One day, while sorting through a bag of saved change, she noticed a 2006 5-cent coin that seemed a little different. The text was slightly blurry. Cervantes' image seemed ghostly. She brought it to a local collector's fair and left it with a numismatist. 2 weeks later, she received a call. It was a confirmed die deterioration error with strong doubling on both the date and name. The coin eventually went to auction, where it realized a price of $6,925. The joy in her voice, she later shared, wasn't just about the money. It was about discovering that something forgotten and ordinary could hold a secret treasure. Another notable find involved a dramatic strike-through error, caused when foreign material gets between the die and planchet during minting. A 2006 España 5-cent coin with a grease-filled die strike surfaced at a Paris auction, showing only partial details on the obverse. It looked worn, but it was mint condition, just with the design obscured. That coin, almost ghost-like in appearance, went under the hammer $4 for 60. Then, there's the mirror clash, where details from one side of the coin appear faintly on the other, due to a powerful die clash with no planchet in between. This incredibly rare anomaly creates ghostly outlines of reverse elements appearing on the obverse. In one of the most stunning finds from Spain's National Coin Convention, a mirror clash error coin with faint castle and lion patterns, from another denomination, across Cervantes' face sold $4.12, $9.80. Let us not forget that these coins still bear the value of 5 euro cents. But their real value lies in what went wrong, and what was caught just in time. What you or I might toss aside could, to a trained eye or a curious soul, be the key to unlocking a story of mystery, history, and astonishing monetary value. Coin collecting isn't always about pristine gold or ancient relics. Sometimes, it's about the unnoticed error, the small deviation that makes all the difference. It's about seeing value where others see none. The 2006 British 5-cent euro coin marked España teaches us to stay curious, to look twice, and to hold on to the little things, because sometimes, they're worth more than we could ever imagine. Here are the top auction results for the 2006 España 5-cent error coin. Off metal strike error coin, wrong planchet sold for $15,700 in a Swiss auction, 2019. Die clash with partial castle reverse design visible, sold for $12,980 at Spain's National Coin Convention, 2020, die deterioration doubling on. Cervantes portrait, sold for $6,925 in Belgium, 2021, cut error on forehead, sold privately for $3,800, 2022, strike-through grease-filled error, sold for $4,460 in a Paris numismatic event, 2021. Close your eyes for just a moment and picture a coin, something you've held dozens, maybe hundreds of times. A coin so ordinary, it practically disappears into your daily life. Now open your eyes to the 1991 D. Jefferson 5 cents nickel. A modest, nickel-clad coin minted in Denver, passed between pockets and cash registers without a second glance. But what if that simple 5-cent piece held a secret? What if, somewhere among the millions minted, a few escaped with a story etched in metal that could command tens of thousands of dollars at auction? The story begins at the Denver Mint in 1991. That year, the U.S. Mint struck over 582 million Jefferson nickels bearing the D. Mint mark. It was routine, mass production at its finest. Yet in the hustle of production, a few planchets met misaligned dies, worn tools, or compromised blanks. These were not minting perfection, they were anomalies. And in the world of numismatics, anomalies often become legends. For collectors, 1991 D nickels usually mean common pocket change. But then whispers began, rumors of strange imperfections. Some reported weak strikes on Monticello's steps. Others noticed ghost-like impressions around Jefferson's profile. Under magnification, what emerged were not flaws but deliberate errors with a value no ordinary nickel could claim. One of the most famous 1991 D nickels found to date featured a spectacular off-center strike. Instead of Jefferson's crisp, centered portrait, the coin revealed a crescent of blank space where design should have been. The Monticello was clipped at the edge, thrown askew by a misaligned die. This wasn't damage caused by circulation. It was a factory-born mutation, and collectors went wild. One such off-center specimen, graded MS-65, stunned auctiongoers with a hammer price of $9,870. Another category of treasure within the 1991 D nickel batch came from double strikes. Imagine the coin being struck not once, but twice, by an unforgiving press. The result? Overlapping images, mirrored shadows, and sometimes the illusion of movement on the surface. These weren't post-mint tampering. They were verified by PCGS and NGC, the leading grading authorities. One rare example, a double-struck 1991 D nickel with dramatic offset, sold for $14,000 in a private sale, but not all errors were as visually dramatic. Some were subtle. Take the missing clad layer error. These were coins where the outer nickel layer had failed to bond properly to the copper core. The result? A dull, reddish hue that looked almost like a penny but bore Jefferson's unmistakable face. Collectors are trained to spot these copper-toned oddities, and one particularly clean example fetched $18,450 at a major online auction. Then came the die clash errors. Normally, dies are cushioned by a blank coin between them when striking. But occasionally, the dies slam together without a planchet. The resulting coin shows ghost images of Monticello on Jefferson's face, or vice versa. It's haunting, a shadow of the design out of place. These coins, eerie and rare, have earned premiums exceeding $7,000, particularly when paired with high-grade luster and certification. The emotional heart of the Jefferson nickel story lies in the hands of a man from Kansas. A Vietnam veteran and lifelong coin roll hunter, he had spent years searching boxes from local banks. One afternoon in 2020, while sorting nickels with his grandson, he spotted something odd. A 1991 D nickel with Monticello's roof almost entirely faded. Jefferson's face looked doubled, almost as if vibrating. He sent it for grading. It came back as an MS-66 with a rare double die reverse. When the coin went to auction, it sold for a life-changing $19,200. But more than the money, it was the moment shared across generations that made it priceless. Why do collectors obsess over these things? Why search for years, squinting at tiny letters and barely their lines? Because every error tells a story. A story of imperfection, of chance, of mechanical missteps that become miracles in metal. In an age of digital perfection, these coins are relics of human error and machine unpredictability. Some 1991 D nickels exhibit broad strikes, a condition where the coin is struck without the collar that shapes its edge. The result is a coin that looks stretched, with smooth, rounded rims. A particularly impressive broad strike sold for $11,200 in 2022, due to its nearly uncirculated condition and visible mint luster, and there are even more obscure errors, cuds, where chunks of the die break off and leave raised blobs on the coin. Or coins struck on the wrong planchets, such as a 1991 D nickel struck on a dime blank. That anomaly fetched over $20,000 because of its impossibly rare nature. You may think these coins are 1 in a million, and you'd be right. But with over 582 million 1991 D nickels minted, that means hundreds of such treasures might still be hiding. In drawers. In jars. In your pocket. So the next time you get change from a coffee shop or find a nickel in your car, take a closer look. Because in that humble, everyday coin could lie the next six-figure treasure, just waiting for the right eyes to discover it. Now let's talk numbers. Here are some of the most shocking auction prices recorded for 1991 D Jefferson nickel error coins. Off-center strike, MS-65 $9,870 double, struck error, certified $14,000 missing clad layer. Copper exposed $18,450 die clash with Monticello ghosting, $7,150 double die reverse, MS-66 $19,200 broad strike error, $11,200 wrong planchet strike, on dime. Planchet $20,000 plus. Remember, it's not always about the age of the coin, but the story it tells, the flaw it carries, and the moment you realize you might be holding more than just 5 cents. You might be holding history, and maybe even a small fortune.